Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest chapter of the Holy Quran. We are busy with verses 11, 12, and 13, which comprises Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest chapter of the Quran, comprising 286 verses. It also contains the longest verse of the Quran, which is verse number 282, which talks about financial and business transactions. And it's also got the most powerful verse of the Quran, which is verse Ayat Al-Kursi. Right. When it is said to them, make not mischief on the earth. Now, who is this referring to? And if we go back to verse number 8, we say that we are referring to these people who are known as the munafiqeen, or the people who speak with two tongues. They say one thing, but they do another thing, the hypocrites. The hypocrites can be people in business, they can be people in government, they can be people in your society, they can be people in your relationships, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, whoever it is. But if anyone says one thing but does another thing, that person is a hypocrite. But in this case, we're talking about political leaders and those who are causing harm to humanity and harm to society. So we're referring to these hypocrites, right? So the hypocrites say that they believe in Allah, but they think that they are deceiving God, but they only deceive themselves, right? In their hearts is a disease, and God has increased the disease, and grievous is the penalty they incur because they are false to themselves. When it is said to these people, these hypocrites, when it is said to them, don't make mischief on the earth, don't cause crime on the earth, don't cause warfare on the earth. Why are you implementing warfare? Why are you invading innocent people? Why has people in Europe invaded? For example, let's look at some colonial and imperial invasions. We know that Europe came into America and invaded America. This was at the time North America we're referring to. There's North America and there's South America. So people from Europe came to North America, and then they colonized the land. They were the original Native Americans known as the Apache or the Comanches or the Sioux nations, honorable people. And all that they did was defending their land, defending their houses. Let's ask yourself a question. How would you feel tomorrow if a criminal comes into your house and kicks you and your family out? Won't you defend your house? I mean, you've got your furniture there, you've got your computer there, you've got your TV there, you've got your laptop there, you've got your kitchen there. I mean, you've paid for your own house. That is your own house. Surely you will defend your family. So in the same way, the Apache Nation, the original Native Americans, they were defending their homes and their livelihood. But then they committed war against them, the invaders, the colonial invaders, by spreading lies, which is known as propaganda, because they controlled the media and they controlled the historical narrative. They wrote the history in their own words, and they identified these people as evil or savages or terrorists, right? In those days, the word terrorism was not used, the word savages was used. But today, the word savages is not used, the word terrorists is used in the same way the word savages is used. And similarly, today in Palestine, we find there's a colonial invasion of people in Palestine. There was a colonial invasion of people on the African continent. There's a colonial invasion of people in the Australian continent, where we have the original Australian Aborigines and so on. There's so many examples of people. And as we mentioned before, it is usually the wealthy people of the world, the wealthy people who are causing this mischief, because the wealthy people want more and more money because they know that money will give them power. But what the wealthy people don't realize, that there are two types of wealthy people. There are those who are wealthy and humble, and they have got a generous and philanthropic nature. They are kind and merciful, and they are instruments of good. But then there are other wealthy people who are wealthy, but they are not humble and kind. They are arrogant. They are arrogant, cruel, and evil people, and they are soldiers of the devil. The devil has got into the brain and into the heart and into the soul. So the soul belongs to the devil. The devil is Satan or Shaitan or the devil or Lucifer. So I'm referring to these wealthy people who want world domination, want to control the world. And these wealthy people control the politicians because they decide who's going to come into power. They control the judiciary. They control the justice system. They control the priests and the religious denominations. They control the universities and the schooling and the education systems, and they control the media because they decide what to say, who to love and who to hate, and the media in turn controls the people. So when it is said to these people, make not mischief on the earth, you know what they say? These hypocrites, the one who talk with two tongues, they say, no, we only want to make peace. But they don't want to make peace because they are talking with two tongues. And the Apache Nation it reminded us in the 1700s and 1800s, when there was colonial invasion in North America, that when they met the white man, they said, this is a man that speaks with two tongues. They say one thing that they want, but they do another thing. They say, we only want to make peace, but of a surety, they are the ones who make mischief and they realize it not. They talk about peace, but they are only interested in war. Because for many of these people, warfare has become a business. It is known as war, WAR, .inc or .co.za or .pty limited. It is a business entity for them. And we know that in any business you have stock, and those stock in this case are missiles and armaments and nuclear weapons and tanks and intercontinental ballistic missiles. So when there's peace in the world, Islam talks about peace, let's have peace. But when there's peace in the world, these people don't like it, because in times of peace, their warehouses are full. So they have dead stock and they're not earning any money. So they will try and instigate a war, which is known as a false flag phenomenon. They will attack themselves. They will shoot themselves in the foot, make a small injury, and then blame the other guy to say, yeah, you see, they attacked us. But meanwhile, they are the ones who planned all of these things. So they will then have an excuse to unleash their warfare on humanity, because they know that as long as there's war, then their stockpiles can be sold and used up, and their factories can start producing more and more weapons of war, and they can become more and more wealthy, and they will have more world control and more world domination. And sadly, what they don't realize is they are soldiers of the devil. And when evil prevails, that is when the good people of the world, they stand up. And we know that as an absolute guarantee, God most merciful tells us that truth prevails over falsehood and goodness prevails over evil. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.